Good morning. Welcome to DFS Army's first look NBA breakdown, brought to you by FantasyDraft, the home of rake-free daily fantasy sports. I'm Craig Bennett, aka CashKeg, and today we'll be doing a game-by-game breakdown using FantasyDraft lineup construction, top plays, as well as answer any questions you might have on today's very small 3-game slate, but should be a fun one with no Giannis tonight. Before that, if you're not following me on Twitch, please give me a follow, turn on those notifications when you know I go live. Also, if you're not a member of DFS Army, then please sign up using the link below in chat. Use a promo code TWITCH to save yourself 20% off. And that includes all sports, even NASCAR. Smash NASCAR. Shout out to Beavis for the 70K takedown this weekend on NASCAR, man. Just absolutely crushed the slate. Have XFL as well. College basketball. March Madness is coming up. That's all included. We're going to have some of that. MMA. It's a crazy card last weekend, man. If you saw that women's fight, wow. That was one for the ages, man. But we got everything. Come join us, DFS Army. What is going on, man? 3-game slate. Very small slate. It's not that bad, though. We got Toronto on there with some injury news. We'll go through the injury news real quick. The big one's Giannis. Giannis is not going to play tonight. So we know it's going to be all the Bledsoe, all the Middleton, you know. They were very popular yesterday, but, you know, said to go ahead and lock those guys in yesterday. And they, of course, exceeded value. They just carried the team. They got up to over, 35% usage rate for both of them. Thanks for the follow, Steve Lynn. So those are the guys you want, I was surprised Ersan ended up starting. I thought that maybe, Marvin Williams would start because they brought him in. He's kind of taken over things. But Ersan started, had a crap game. On a 3-game slate, I think you can go back to either one of them. But the big one is Bledsoe and Middleton there. DiVincenzo is interesting. He had a big game. He's a guy we could probably look at. But anyways, Fred VanVleet is doubtful. It's the Powell show, man. The dude's playing massive minutes with VanVleet out. Played, I think, over 40 minutes last night. Had over 30 points. So he's a guy that's going to be extremely popular this slate. I don't think they'll have no problem. They're going against Utah. Utah is just not the same defensive team that we've known in the past. I'm not worried about it one bit. Marc Gasol's questionable, and he just came back from injury. I don't think they're going to run him out in a back-to-back going up against Utah here. I don't see the need for it, honestly, like to push that. So, what's up, Top Flight? How you doing, man? So it's, with Marc Gasol, if he does sit, we might see, Ronda Hollis Jefferson come back in the starting lineup. We might see Ibaka's probably going to, play the 5, I would guess. So he might start the 5. So we'll have to see what's going on there. That's the late game. But I just don't see Gasol playing. DeAndre Hunter, again, for Atlanta, and Jeff Teague, they're both questionable. If Hunter's out, it's just more love for Reddish there. He could start, or maybe if he just still comes off the bench, he's still going to see a ton of minutes. And then Jeff Teague, we're probably just going to see Goodwin, just back up Trae Young. But on 3-game slate, you're going to need to find some of these guys, man. So thanks for the follow, Joe. Appreciate it. So those are the guys that we're looking at today. Again, small 3-game slate. You kind of have to get a little funky. But it should be a fun one. Again, I like playing slates when Giannis is not playing in Milwaukee. Yes, they're going to be chalking on 3-game slate. Just lock them bad boys in again. So let's go over here and give FantasyDraft a little look. All right. Here's lobby at FantasyDraft. Again, rake free. Don't be paying these massive 15-16% rakes. No need for it, especially on a slate like this, you have to be perfect to win GPPs, man. You absolutely do. FantasyDraft has a $10,000 pick and roll, $25 entry. One of the things I love about most of their contests is their min cash is 2x. So $50 for a min cash, you get your 2x. $1,500 ain't topping, nothing to shake a stick at. Like I said, they're nice flat payouts usually at FantasyDraft, and you max 12. So I like the payout structure here. Always have. I wish FanDuel and DraftKings would, do more of it, because it keeps players in the game. And then again, when you're not paying rake, it's even better. It goes, you're not paying that 16% rake, which is just absolutely insane. So, again, head on over here. If you don't have a FantasyDraft account, head on over to FantasyDraft.com with referral code CHIEFST. That's CHIEFST, and you'll get a free 7-day trial membership. So no rake at all. So head on over. Let's go on this bad boy and see what plays we got going on here. First game, Hornets at the Hawks. Again, I think a lot of the love is going to be in these back games, the ones that are at 9 o'clock, the Bucks and the Nuggets and the Raptors at Jazz. However, it's a 3-game slate. You're going to be looking at this. And Charlotte beat Houston the other day. If you watched that game, holy crap. Did not expect that. Houston's just been a dumpster fire lately. So maybe it's not quite unexpected. But, yeah. Let's see. Plays at this. Trae Young's always playable. Again, Hornets is one of the slower paced teams in the league. And this is a 223.5 over-under. And Atlanta's favored by 4. Again, Atlanta's not one of the best teams in the league, but Trae Young, squarely in play here at 18-2. I do think you're going to look at more of the Toronto and the Milwaukee guys in the slate. They're going to be extremely popular, but there's the guys you're going to look at. I think what you can look at in this game, not so much Trae Young and Collins. I don't like running Trae Young and Collins together. Again, 3-game slate, you can do about anything. I wouldn't put any restrictions to it. But if Young struggles, usually Collins picks it up and vice versa. And at their prices, I just wouldn't run them together. Devontae Graham's an interesting one. 12-4 is way too cheap for him. Against Atlanta, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. 12-4. He's got massive ceiling. He's put up 34 fantasy points against Houston. Against Denver, he put up 37 and 31 and 34 minutes. Again, with Monk out with suspension, it's just basically Graham and Rozier picking up the offense here on this team. 12-4 is a fantastic price. Like in this game, if I was looking at one guy, if I had to pick one guy from this game, it would be Graham. Don't have a whole lot of love for Rozier. 12-1. He did put up 40 against Houston, 25 against Denver, 35 against the Spurs. He's up all over the place. If you were playing one lineup, I wouldn't play Rozier. But he's still cheap enough you could run them both together if you wanted to. They do have 109 implied team total, and a lot of their scoring comes from those two guys. So I kind of leaned Graham if I was picking one, but you can play either one at those prices. You're looking at around 3x plus here. And again, on 3-game slate, squarely in play. PJ Washington, 11-4. Not really interested there. We haven't seen Capella since he got traded from Houston to Atlanta yet, so nothing there. Herter, 11-3. He's okay. Not the price I absolutely love, but we've seen big upside from him. He plays big minutes around 34, 35, 11-3. Put up 29, 37, 32, 45. So he can get to that 3x mark. I like him better when Young is out, but still no problem to go there. The other plays we're going to look at down here are now it says that Reddish is out. I don't think Reddish is out today, so I wouldn't look at that tag. Cody Martin, 8-8, not as long as Graham's playing. Zeller, 9-9, not really interested there. Miles Bridges at 10-8. He does pick up more minutes. He's seeing mid-30s minutes. He's another guy that looks at scoring 15, 27, 25 his last 3. Minutes are 27, 27, 32. Again, it's really Graham and Rozier on this team. And then on the Atlanta side, it's Young, Collins, wouldn't play them together. And then I would come down and look at a Reddish if Hunter is out, and then maybe a little bit of Herter. Deadman at 7-9 is a little interesting. Thanks, Spider. Appreciate the follow, man. Here to win. What was the code again at Fantasy Draft? Chief ST. Charlie Hotel India Echo, Foxtrot, Sierra, Tango, Chief ST. I'll type it in here for you. And that gets you a free 7-day trial. So type that in there. Head on over to FantasyDraft. But yeah, since talking about Dedmon, since he's coming back, he's been in the starting lineup starting at 5. 21 minutes, 19 minutes. Those last 2 games he's been back, he was out for a while. Put up 20 and 26 fantasy points in those limited minutes. And again, I'll attack, no problem, Charlotte at all, any place. So he makes a very interesting call up here. If he sees 24, 25 minutes, he can crush this tag at 7,900. So very interested there. And that's about it on this team, man. I don't really want anybody else, down here in the, maybe you want to look at a little good one if Teague is out at 6K, if you need a 6K guy, as he's going to back up those point guard minutes, but knowing that I'm clamoring to play. But if you're looking for it, don't mind that. That's about it. This game's going to be one of the, like I said, the next 2 games are going to be popular on this 2-game slate. So let's head on over to the Bucks and the Nuggets. This game is sitting at a 221.5 over under, and Denver is favored by 5.5. Yeah, we saw massive minutes out of Bledsoe and Middleton. To me, they're just lock buttons. 11-3 is just stupid. 13-9 is stupid. They're going to play all the minutes, all the usage. They do everything. They're going to be extremely popular. So when guys are this popular on a 3-game slate, you do one of 2 things. You hit the lock button on those guys, or you don't, or you just fade them completely. Because you're not going to win stuff just going even with the field on a 3-game slate. I just think you go in and just go extremely heavy on both of these guys. And again, I'm gonna hit the lock button again, just like I said I was yesterday. So those are the guys. Those are the guys you just lock in, and we know that they're the ones that are gonna play all the minutes. Like I said, DiVincenzo 9-4 is interesting. Pat Connaughton's another cheap guy you could look at. He is 6K. Where's he at? Put up 12 in 18 minutes, 21 in 18 minutes. If you're looking for a 6K crapper on this team, it's definitely Pat Connaughton. DiVincenzo, though, after Middleton and Bledsoe, are probably my next favorite guy at 9-4. He saw 28 minutes last night, put up 35 fantasy points. 24 minutes against the Lakers, put up 29. Put up 23 minutes against Indy and put up 40. So he's got major upside. And at 9-4, really like him on this slate. Jokic, though. Jokic against Milwaukee. Jokic 17-4. That's expensive before him. And he just hasn't been all there, man. It's just Cleveland only put up 30 in 32 minutes. Charlotte 42 in 30 minutes. Golden State 47 in 32 minutes. The minutes are down as long as Plumlee is healthy. I just don't think they run him out there a ton. I think he's going to be extremely popular to the slate. And at this price, I'd actually rather go back to the Hawks and run a Trae Young over Jokic here. So not really feeling Jokic. And, Denver's defense has been crap. Malone's came out and challenged them. And they're just not, I'm not scared to play any of these Milwaukee guys, even on a back-to-back from last night. Just not at all. Barton 11-7, interested in him for sure. Saw 36 minutes, put up 38 fantasy points against Cleveland. Charlotte the game before, 33 minutes, 28. Golden State, 34 minutes, 25. The minutes are extremely solid for him. And 11-7, it's a good price tag for him. We saw with Giannis off the court for Milwaukee, that defense is just not there. Phoenix put up over 130 points in regulation last night. So you can easily go to some of these Denver guys. And again, Jokic, I'm just going to be lower on until I see it. It's a 3-game slate. I'm not saying you will fade him completely, but I'm going to be way underweight on Jokic on this slate. But again, they're going to put up some points. Jamal Murray at 13-2. Fine to go there if you want to. More on the Milwaukee side here, but Denver's going to score. They got 113.5 implied team total, which is third on the slate. Brook Lopez again at 10K. No problem going to him again. Put up 29 fantasy points in 27 minutes. He does definitely shoot a lot more without Giannis on the court. So no problem looking at him a little bit. Paul Millsap at 9-3. You know, if you're going to fade, I say in your Jokic lineups, you're not going to play. I'd play some Paul Millsap. The minutes haven't been heavy, 26, 20, 25. Put up 10, 19, 32. It's extremely low floor with him recently. But again, Ilsan Ilyasova. Illy's 9-1. He burned a lot of people yesterday. Had 15 minutes, put up 8. Started the game. And again, with Marvin Williams out there, I think it's going to take off. He's not going to play these massive minutes or, you know, mid 20 minutes with no Giannis on the court. So not a guy I'm just wanting to stuff in my lineups just because we know we have that extra player, Marvin Williams, that is very similar to him. Shoot, you know, rebound, hit the three. So not really overly excited about Illy in this offense. Jeremy Grant at 8-2. Monte Morris 7-7. George Hill at 7,500. I like him with no Giannis on the court. Saw 16 minutes, only put up 6. DiVincenzo's the one that was getting a lot of run. But if you're going to take some chances on a guy at 7.5, I don't mind him. He's been about a fantasy point per minute this season. If he sees 21, 22 minutes, you know, he can get close to that 3x mark, so I don't mind him. Always like playing a little plum dog, 6-8. You know, 15 minutes, 13, 17 minutes, 13. Golden State, 13 minutes. He saw 29. So he has a ceiling. If you're looking to get a little funky, man, I always like some plum dog. Like I said, Pat Connaughton at 6K. And that's about it. I don't like anyone else down here. The main guys, again, Middleton and Bledsoe. That's the main guys to target here. Like I said, DiVincenzo 9-4 be the third guy. Let's head over to the last game here. Again, small 3-game slate. Really small 3-game slate. We talked about how Van Fleet is doubtful. So Norman Powell, 12-2. Squarely in play. 42 minutes last night, put up 49 fantasy points. Golden State, 38 minutes, put up 50 fantasy points. Phoenix, 38 minutes, put up 40 fantasy points. The guy is playing massive minutes without Van Fleet. Massive. And he's putting up raw scores, just scores without the peripherals. 31, 37, 26. Just massive. So he's going to be extremely popular on this slate, especially after the big game last night. But it's a guy that, you know, with no Van Fleet, we've seen the usage. We know where it's going to go. So it's all the Powell. Lowry at 15-4. Again, squarely in play with no Van Fleet. He's going to play major minutes. He saw 35 last night, put up 56. 53 against Golden State. 45 against Phoenix. You know, they use him to score. So, again, a lot of these guys are going to be extremely popular. Ibaka 11-6. Really like him if we figure Gasol's going to sit. I don't think he's going to play on a back-to-back. There's just no reason to push him out there. Saw 40, put up 40 against Sacramento last night in 35 minutes. Put up 37 in 29 minutes against Golden State. They're going to need his size of no Gasol up against Rudy Gobert. And speaking of Rudy Gobert, I don't mind him on the other side. You know, 14-6. Put up 41 against Detroit in 35 minutes. 42 against the Knicks. Only put up 25 against Boston. Then Cleveland put up 45. So he's been right around that 40 fantasy point mark. 3-game slate. Probably going to be pretty popular. Donovan Mitchell, 13-5. I'm not really worried about a lot of these guys. Jordan Clarkson's interesting. 18-2. He's a guy that could be sneaky on a 3-game slate. He never gets enough ownership. Saw 20 fantasy points in 24 minutes, 26 and 26 minutes against Boston. At 8-2, you're looking for around 24 fantasy points. But again, we got to find a way to get a little funky here. So this is a 224 over-under with Utah favored by 4.5. You know, Utah's got the highest implied team total on the slate. You know, you're going to want a piece of them. Mike Conley at 10-3 is kind of interesting. Playing, you know, as he starts, you know, you're looking for around 30 fantasy points. He put up 25 against Detroit in 30 minutes. Boston put up 42 in 34 minutes. The Knicks put up 29 and 26, so he's going to be pretty popular as well on the 3-game slate. But again, no problem going there. When Joe Ingles is more expensive than Mike Conley on FantasyDraft, yeah, you just kind of plug him in. So yeah, this is a game that probably going to be extremely heavily targeted, being it's, you know, the highest over-under. And just the fancy goodness is going to come at it. You know, Toronto, again, yeah, they're on a back-to-back. They play a ton of minutes. And let me see here. We're just going to have to target some of these guys. OG at 12-7. I'm not too excited about OG. He's just he relies so much on the peripherals, right? And I don't think he's going to get there. So not a guy that I'm really looking to hold on one second. All right. So not a guy I'm really looking to get to on the Toronto side. I'm more on the Powell. I'm more on, you know, Siakam at 15-6 is a little expensive for me. With Ibaka back, there is upside. He put up 47 in Sacramento in 38 minutes. He's playing massive minutes, 33, 52, 36. They just play massive minutes for their starters, and all of them are squarely in play. I just prefer more on the Norman Powell side if I'm looking for the first guy to plug in. We just seen his upside with Van Fleet out. He just plays all the minutes, and that scoring is there. But yeah, Siakam 15-6, Lowry at 15-4, Ibaka 11-6. You know, so Ibaka and Powell are probably my favorite because they're cheaper. But yeah, Siakam, no problem playing those guys. And then on the Utah side, it's basically Rudy Gobert. We didn't talk like Bojan. I think Bojan won't get the ownership. He really never does. He's a pure scorer. I saw a stat when I was watching a basketball game a couple days ago, and they talked about scorers that put up 35 real-life points, no assists, no rebounds. And I can't remember one of the guys that did it back in the early 2000s, but the other two on the list recently, and it was both this year, were Ross from Orlando, and it was Bogdanovich. Because that's what he does. He's a scorer. He's not a rebounder really or assist. Yeah, he'll get a few here and there, but he's a pure scorer. For him to score, he has to just massively score points. But again, against Detroit, put up 41 in 34 minutes. 2 games ago against the Knicks, put up 33. Against Cleveland, 48. But yeah, I thought that stat was pretty interesting, where he's hasn't scored more than or hasn't had any rebounds or assists, but have scored 35 real life points in a game. And there's only been 3 in NBA history, so he is one of them. That's about it, man. There's no one else down here I like. Like, if you want to take a chance, if something happens in this game where it gets sideways, maybe Utah takes it to Toronto. We all know Chris Boucher, man. If that dude gets run, 28 minutes against Phoenix the other day, put up 45. But on the other side, 7 minutes against Golden State, put up 5 points. The game has to get sideways. Something has to happen, especially with Ibaka back. Something has to happen really bad for Chris Boucher to get in there and smash. But on a 3-game slate, if you want to sprinkle him in a few, and hopefully that happens, I wouldn't run Ibaka or any of those other guys because they're probably struggling if that happens. Then you could look at a Boucher. But that's about it. Anybody underneath that, not really looking at it all. But again, head over to FantasyDraft, man. Sign up, rake free. Don't pay that rake, especially on a small slate like this where you have to hit the nuts. One of the great things about this contest right here, this 10K pick and roll that FantasyDraft has, there's only 12 max entries. So you don't actually have to hit the nut lineup to win. You just 12 entries. There's total of 400 entries in this contest. It's about half full already. So get on in there. 2x min cash. You can't beat it. You can't beat the rake free. It's a fun site to play on. I like where I can play 5 centers if I want to, or 5 point guards. I'm not constrained like on FanDuel where I can only play 2 point guards or 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, etc., or just 1 center. I can play 5 centers over here if I want to. 3-game slate. Again, the big decisions you have to make tonight are you going all in on Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe, or are you going to fade them? I wouldn't go in between. I'd go one or the other. And I'm in all-in mode again. So those are decisions you got to make. Sheets will be up in a few hours. Very small slate. But again, 1 week can win. Try to find some edge to push out to you guys in the cheat sheets over at dfsarmy.com. Again, promo code Twitch. Save yourself 20% off. Appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions on this slate, hit me up. If not, then I'm going to get out of here and start on these sheets. What you guys got? Anything? Anything at all? Alrighty then. I appreciate you guys. Again, hit up those dfsarmy.com. Promo code Twitch. Get in there. Check out cheat sheets. We'll find those gems for you. Appreciate you. Love you all.